The effects of global warming and climate change are being felt all round the world. Its impact needs to be addressed sooner rather than later. Launching the new report, Key Elements of a Global Deal on Climate Change, at the London School of Economics, Lord Nicholas Stern outlined the urgency on reaching agreement before next year's Copenhagen summit.
If you are to have a treaty with words, real words, on a table at the end of next year, that means it has to be based on principles. Principles are discussed and argued over, and those principles really have to be agreed sometime next summer, which means we'd better have the serious discussion about what those principles should be right now. So there's a real urgency on this.
To meet the challenges ahead, he believes there has to be what's called adaptation and development funding, that are both linked.
You can't say which fraction of the foundations of this road, which you've strengthened because you're more worried about floods and droughts, are sums you would have spent anyway and sums where you spent a bit more. You can't slice up development projects like that. Development itself is the best form of adaptation because it diversifies the economy, it improves human capital, makes people more able to adapt. They're intrinsically bound together, and we should think of the adaptation story as pursuing development goals in the context of a more hostile climate.
It's also felt that between 2010 and 2020, developing countries have to lead the way to show the developing world the benefits of low-carbon technology.
We're looking to rich countries to demonstrate, as I said, low-carbon growth, financial transfers, technology sharing, so that poor countries can take on binding targets at a reasonable level. If we push developing countries to take on binding targets now, they would have to be so high as to essentially undermine what you're trying to do, because they would not have seen the demonstration of low-carbon finance, financial transfers and technology.
To ensure the new goals and targets on climate change are met, he thinks the best way this can be achieved is politically.
Essentially, it's going to be enforced politically. I don't believe that there's a great big stick that you can, international stick that some appropriate international person can go around and wield and bash over people's head if they deviate from the global deal. I really don't think that would work, and it might have other aspects to it we wouldn't like anyway. How is this going to work? I think it's going to be clear promises given by countries is what they will do, with enforcement mechanisms through, enforcement's the wrong word, but with mechanisms within the countries to hold their government to account.
The new report is seen as a blueprint to what's required to ensure that appropriate steps are taken so that there can be discussion and agreement before next year's climate change summit in Copenhagen.